Ah. Just sitting here thinking, man. This world has lost its collective mind. We are in the eon of deception, no doubt. We're in the eon of deception, and God has handed us over to a strong delusion so that those that don't love the truth will believe a lie. And that is exactly what is going on over in Israel. Sorry, I know I'm moving all around here. I'm trying to get set up here on my hammock so I can just chill while I record this. Oh, that's lovely. Bird shit on my hammock. You're an asshole. That's alright. Flip it over. But anyways, what I was saying is, Revelation 2:9 and 3:9 snitches out the liars. Those who say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. I think that's pretty clear. And in the book of the Psalms, King David is talking, I believe it is, and he said, "Shouldest thou help the ungodly and love them that hate the Lord? Absolutely not. Therefore is wrath upon thee from before the Lord." Now, I don't know if you've seen America recently, but if you look at the white race, the black race, the Mexican race, all the Asian races, all the races on earth, except for those that are claiming that they're Judah, are doing worse than ever. Not only are we doing worse than ever, but we're being turned against each other and being demonized and made to hate each other. When the real haters are those antichrists that are claiming they're Judah. In the book of Genesis, Romans, and Hebrews, 3 times it says, "In Isaac shall thy seed be called." That's literally where the name Saxons came from. And if you look what God said the Israelites would do, that they would be a blessing to all the families of the earth, that they would be more blessed than all the families of the earth, and that all of creation groans for the sons of God to be revealed. If they were the sons of God, then the whole creation wouldn't be groaning now louder than ever. There's only one group of people who fill all of the fingerprints for the Israelites, and that's the Europeans. And it's gone exactly like the Bible said it would if they turned their backs on God, that they would become the tail and no longer the head. And those people that claim that they're Judah speak in their native tongue when they speak lies. That's why they lie so much. Their moniker in Israel is, "By way of deception, thou shalt make war." Well, God makes war in the light, not in the dark. So but Jesus did say to the Pharisees that their father was a liar and a murderer from the beginning, and the father of it, and that there was no truth in him. And he called them a race of vipers. And John the Baptist called them a progeny of vipers. And it says in the Bible that all of the blood from righteous Abel to Zechariah was done by their race. That all of that blood would come upon that race. When Jesus said that, that was the whole Bible at that moment. So he was literally saying that all of the righteous blood that had been spilled had been done by that one race. And it said that that race would go and gather all of the nations of the earth to make war with the woman's seed. And what do we see happening to the European nations? They're being flooded and destroyed, and the Europeans have been demonized to the entire world. And the people that claim they're Judah have gathered all of the nations of the earth to make war with the woman's seed. The Europeans invented schools, hospitals, automobiles, airplanes. They printed the Bible and brought it to the whole world. 95% of all missionary work in the history of the world was done by one single race, the Europeans. That sounds like what the Israelites would do. What God's helpmates in the earth would do. I'm German and Italian and Irish, and I got a bunch of stuff, but all of those started out as Europeans. The Roman Empire, Europeans. The name Caucasian comes from them migrating over the Caucasus Mountains into Asia Minor. The name Saxon literally comes from them being Isaac's sons. And the Union Jack, the British flag, stands for the Union of Jacob. And if you look at the symbol, one of them looks like a left. And the name Anglo comes from the Hebrew word angle, which stands for bull. And the bull is on the banner of Joseph's sons, who were promised a double portion. That double portion, and the Bible said the Israelites would become a nation and a company of nations. That's the British Empire, and the great nation is America. In 2 Samuel, it promised a new promised land. And in the Bible, it talks about that it would, that there, somebody, I can't remember who it is exactly, but they have a vision, and it talks about the language sounding like stammering lips. That's English. The name Engel comes from the letter, or the name Engel, which is Hebrew for bull. So it's literally, and the word Ish is Hebrew for man. So it literally is bull man, which is Ephraim and Manasseh, the double portion, which is where English comes from. That just so happens to sound like stammering lips when you compare it to the Spaniards were European, and that language, Latin, comes from Greek and Italian. Those were the original Latin languages. And they migrated into Spain. That's why Paul talked about wanting to go to Spain. And there's another Acts of the Apostles that's E. Raymond Capt did a study on it. It was in the Michigan University, I believe it was. And in that Acts of the Apostles, Paul goes to Britain, and he goes to Britain, and he goes to Spain, just like he talked about that he was going to do in the book of Acts. And God promised that the line of Judah would always have a king upon the throne. And the stone of Scone, the stone that Joseph slept on, is still under the throne of England, and they swear their kings in on the throne, and under that throne they put that stone. And the Israelites always brought that stone with them. And the Vikings, when they did their raids, they would cause England to they would be such a shock to England that it caused them to go back to God. And the tribe of Dan was prophesied that they were an adder in the path that would nip at the horse's heels and knock their rider backwards. And if you look, everywhere that the tribe of Dan went, they named it after Dan. Like the Danube, Dunkirk, Denmark, all of these names like that, all in that, you'll see them all over, that have that D in the end. In Hebrew, there are, I think it's no vowels, and so they only had to put a D and an N to name it after Dan. And they did it all over there. If you look at and even in the Nordic countries like Iceland, they still like Hafthor Bjorn's son. That's why their last names are still like that, because they were separated from the changes that have been made to the European people over time. They still do their last names just like they did in Israel, when they son of da 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 da, son of da 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 da. It's just evolution over time slightly, but it still holds on to its roots. The Icelandic people still held on to that root of naming their last name as who they're the son of. I don't know if I'm doing a good job of explaining all of this, but normally when I explain it to somebody, it's in person, and it's a lot easier for me to communicate in person, I guess just because I'm more used to it. But I'm only putting this video up because I feel a responsibility to God. I don't want to have to answer to him one day for having been entrusted with an oversight. He's revealed to me who the true sons of God are, and or who the true Israelites are. I don't think that salvation is only for the Israelites. Obviously, that's stupid, and the people that believe that obviously don't know God, because that's not God's character. And the people that subscribe to that belief are really just another version of Talmudic Jews, just the European version. Because the Talmudic Jews believe that they get to enslave all the races of the earth, and they're not human, and that God only loves them, and they get to genocide everybody. So, yeah. And I know that they hate Christ. They're the only race on earth that hates Christ. At least the Muslims say that he was a good prophet. The Buddhists at least acknowledge he was a good man. Everybody else at least acknowledges that Jesus is good. There's only one group of people on this earth that hate Jesus. And they killed him. And they control music, they control the media, they control the governments, they control the movies. They have hijacked the identity of the Israelites and enslaved the world. And until the Europeans remember who they are and turn back to Jesus, that's what's got to happen. Because it says that all the nations of the earth will march up the mountain, up to the house of Jacob, and want to follow after his ways because of how blessed they are, and want to follow after their God. Their God is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's where Saxon comes from. Sons of Sac sons, Isaac's sons. And they've been more demonized than any other race on earth. Mr. Adolf, same thing. He saw through it. Loving your own people is not hateful. I don't care if you're black, I don't care if you're Mexican, I don't care if you're Asian, I don't care what race you are. You should love your people in a special way because God made us that way. Your race is an extension of your family. And each race is a single organism. And by breaking that apart, they've individualized us so that we can't identify with our tribe, because especially Europeans, because it's been so demonized. And they divide and conquer at every level. They play music at certain frequencies. They have injected things into the scriptures that can't be true at the same time, like hell. God doesn't have an eternal torture chamber. If you look into the translation, look up the Keys of the Kingdom Holy Bible, you'll see what I'm talking about. If you look at the Hebrew word and the Greek word, and Peter quotes that word Sheol in Hebrew that they translate as hell, Jacob says he's going there mourning for his son. Jacob didn't think he was going to be put into an eternal torture chamber because his son was torn apart by wolves. And Peter, he quotes a psalm, and in that psalm, they use the word Sheol, and he uses the word Hades, I believe it is, or Diablos, and that word means, and he uses that to say the word Sheol. So in English, that word is grave. In Greek, that word is, I can't remember the exact, it's either Hades or Diablos. And in Hebrew, it's Sheol. And if on chapter 1, it's ice cream, then on chapter 600, that word still means ice cream. So like it's the rule of first occurrences. Anything that requires you to suspend your brain to believe it is a deception. I'm still learning every day, but I also find it interesting that Jesus called himself the Son of Man more than any other title in the Bible. And for his genealogy, the Bible gives Joseph's genealogy. They're both from his mom and dad were both from the house of David. Why would God preserve his lineage and bring two people from the house of David together and then decide to impregnate her with the Holy Spirit instead of letting his dad do it when they're both from the house of David? Just like them trying to say that Jesus is God and that there's a Trinity. All this mysticism has been injected in there so that you can't rely on your brain. But God said he gave us a sound mind. So when you sift through all of these things that contradict each other, like Jesus being his own father, whenever it clearly says, and he says a million different ways, no, I have a father. My God is your God. And he even tells God, make them one with me and us like I'm one with you. That doesn't make us God. He was saying one. Just like it says that Jesus is the expressed image of God. That doesn't make that doesn't make him God. I'm the expressed image of my dad. That doesn't make me my dad. I'm a lot like him. Jesus is the picture of God. That doesn't make him God. He is the Son of God, the living Son of God, our Messiah. He is the vine that attaches us to God, because our sin separates us from God. And by trying to take away Jesus' dad and say that he was born of the Holy Spirit, then that makes him not fully human, because we have a dad and a mom. All of these things are designed to take away what God gave us, which is our sound mind. I just think that we have to come back to reality and get out of this mysticism, hoodoo, voodoo lies of the Talmudic Judah. They're not Judah. The Israelites show they're the Israelites by what they did and what they've accomplished and how they love people. That's why they've let themselves become strangers in their own countries. No other race on earth would do that. The Chinese haven't allowed themselves to become strangers in their own countries. The Indians haven't. The Africans haven't. In fact, they're chanting, kill the boa, kill the white farmer. You bite the hand that feeds you, and it could end up real bad for you. I hope that it doesn't, because, I mean, it's hard because I know they're raping and killing my people. So that makes me very, very angry and want to do something violent and wish them bad, but I know that that's not what I should do. You know what I mean? So, yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Ah.